Welcome back to the channel. If you enjoy aviation analysis, I actually do that on my second channel, Globetrotting. Be sure to check it out. In today's aviation news recap, there's a lot to take a look at, including a new aircraft order for Airbus jets, Finnair updates, and Etihad Airways once more expanding its A380 operation. Let's take a look at the leading story, with Indian carrier Indigo announcing a landmark purchase of the Airbus A350 to enhance its fleet by formally and more officially introducing wide-body aircraft rather than resorting to a wet lease for this. The Indian carrier has selected up to 100 aircraft as part of the deal. The specifics behind the contract see 30 firm A350-900 orders, with deliveries expected to start in 2027. But what is probably the larger part of the headline is purchase rights for 70 additional A350 family jets. What this means is the total is up to 100 units. And as a result, and at its discretion, the airline can move forward with these aircraft if it needed to, under specific conditions. Indigo says the precise configuration of the A350s are yet to be determined. It's still 3 years away before delivery, so the exact specifics will come with time. However, Indigo certainly didn't waste any further time by confirming the aircraft will be powered by Rolls-Royce XWB engines, thus beginning a new relationship, the airline says, with Rolls-Royce that should develop long into the future. For Indigo, this order marks a historic moment in the airline's history, which began in the mid-2000s. It also marks a significant new era, as the airline finally looks set to stretch its wings and expand into many new markets with an aircraft that comes with a hefty amount of capacity over what it has to its name currently. Indigo had actually long debated what aircraft to select for its upcoming wide-body endeavour. These more than evident if you look through the channel. Just search Indigo and you'll see a teenage version of me discussing this very topic. The carrier was looking towards A330neo and or 787 jets. This was at least what was floated around as a prospective option. Eventually though, Indigo would certainly stick with what it has been familiar with, that being Airbus-produced jets. But what it would do is upscale to a larger aircraft than what was initially broadcast. That is the A350. The order for the 350s do also come less than a year after the company's historic deal with the European plane maker that really did signal the carrier's long-term intent. Labelled at the time as the largest single-aisle aircraft order by any airline ever, saw 500 aircraft ordered. When paired with the existing order book for the A320 family, which is nothing short of insane, this huge order brought the total to almost 1,000 jets. Alongside this figure, the significant drawn-out delivery process will be more than present. This means that Indigo will continuously be welcoming jets well into the 2030s. So for any future growth that will be present, it believes it'll be well positioned to meet this with more than enough deliveries already booked in. Like Air India, Indigo has ambitious growth plans, and it believes it can build on the success to reach new markets, utilizing these wide bodies. India wants to be on the world stage for aviation by 2030, and to achieve this, and also meet the large population growth, thousands of new planes are needed. Once delivered, these A350s will not only provide further capacity options on in-demand routes, but also open up a realm of new locations to be within reach. Over to Etihad Airways, and it feels like deja vu, with me covering another update surrounding them, as they plan to ramp up their commitment to the A380 again, by saying they'll send the aircraft to Paris. From November 1 of this year, Etihad will deploy the world's largest passenger plane on service between its hub in Abu Dhabi and Paris Charles de Gaulle. From this date, Paris will actually become the third city that has seen the A380 return, joining existing locations of London and most recently New York, where they commenced service around a week and a half ago depending on when you are watching this. London was initially selected as the first destination that the aircraft would return on. Operating as EY3132, the flight will depart Abu Dhabi at 2:40 in the morning, with a 7:30 arrival into Paris. Etihad currently uses its newly delivered A350-1000 for this service, which sure comes with a great amount of capacity. But obviously moving to the A380 does represent a significant upgauge, and means to the famous city more seats will be offered. Believe it or not, Etihad Airways previously believed that the A380 had no place in their operation. A decision that obviously stemmed from the devastating effects of the global pandemic. However, when demand surged, Etihad Airways was forced to reevaluate its commitment to the aircraft. Securing next-generation aircraft was obviously difficult due to the decimated supply chain at Airbus and Boeing. So, what did Etihad need to do? Well, it had to make use of the available resources, even if those available resources were grounded. Etihad Airways eventually returned the A380 slowly but surely back to its active fleet. However, the carrier initially said it would only be deployed towards London Heathrow. But the carrier quickly then determined that other significant markets needed a high-capacity jet, and adjusted their plans accordingly. By the end of 2024, Etihad will fly this plane to 3 separate yet highly lucrative markets to meet demand. How long the A380's resurgence lasts is obviously another topic that will always be up for debate, but the aircraft certainly remains a popular choice among customers, and yes, production ceased in the early 2020s, so the aircraft is more on the way out than on the way in, and you'll no doubt have the expectation that once supply chains can improve and the delivery of aircraft such as your uncertified 777X take shape, we may see more airlines cut their losses and move forward with these next-generation aircraft. Over to Finnair, who have published their financial results for the first quarter of 2024. The quarter was highlighted really by an operating loss of USD 12.4 million. The loss was, yes, larger than initially forecasted and resulted from strike action that disrupted the airline's day-to-day operations. Additionally, the loss represents a step backward from the minor profit it recorded for the same quarter 1 year prior. In their release, Finnair also cited that revenues dropped 1.9% yearly to 681.5 million euros. The airline quickly noted that it does typically experience smaller revenues during the first quarter of the year, and it sees this number rise with time. Across the quarter, passengers carried also decreased 1.9%, while passenger load factor dropped from 75.1 to 72.1. The last few years have certainly thrown their curveballs at Finnair, which has been forced on more occasion than one to alter its flying schedule due to situations that are, you could argue, out of its control. Whether it was the emergence of the global pandemic, the Russian airspace closure, or other forms of conflict, they've had it tough, but they haven't been the only airline. For the remainder of 2024, Finnair remains pretty cautious, with traffic, yes, expected to grow. However, some concerns remain, such as the impact of inflation and higher interest rates. Alongside overall costs, there are certainly uncertainties on the operating environment. Additionally, Finnair says it remains wary of the continued international conflicts that have broken out in the last 18 months, which actually have really hindered their ability to offer a robust schedule. Take a look at their flights towards Asia. Yes, they say that demand is strong for these markets, but they've been forced to implement detours, which have impacted their finances. That's going to conclude today's aviation news proceedings. If you have any thoughts, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow for your latest news. And we'll fly.